Welcome back to the fascinating world of the genes with Rohini, and today we are going to learn about the lacoperon. The lacoperon, which has been first discovered by the two scientists Jacob and Monod in 1961. Here there is a structure of the lacoperon or the organization of the lacoperon, and here we can see that there are the structural genes, there are the three structural genes, and there are the regulatory elements. The three structural genes, they are the LAC-Z gene, LAC-Y gene, and the LAC-A gene. Here coming towards the first one, and it is the LAC-Z gene. LAC-Z gene, it is going to encode the enzyme, and that enzyme, it is a beta-galactosidase. This beta-galactosidase, it has the two enzymatic activities. The major enzyme activity, it is the conversion of the lactose into the glucose and the galactose, and the second one, it is the conversion of the lactose into the allolactose, which is the isoform or the isomer of the lactose. So the beta-galactosidase, it is going to convert, or it is going to cleave the lactose into glucose and galactose, and the conversion of the lactose into the isoform allolactose, and here that allolactose, it is going to work as the inducer. Now the second structural gene, it is the LAC-Y. LAC-Y, it is the permeases. It is going to encode for the permeases, that is, it is allowing the transport of the lactose in the cell. That is, the permeases, it is a transporter, and it is involved into the transport of the lactose into the cell. So permeases allowing the transport of the lactose in the cell, and when it is getting in the cell, lactose it is getting in the cell, it is acted by the enzyme beta-galactosidase, and beta-galactosidase, it is going to convert the lactose into the glucose and galactose, so that the energy it is provided, or the carbon source, it is going to be provided to the cell, and next lactose, it is going to be converted into the allolactose, and so it is going to provide the inducer for the lacoperon. And the last structural gene, it is a LAC-A. It is going to encode for the enzyme, and that it is a beta-galactoside transacetylases. So whenever in the cell there is a high concentration of the beta-galactoside, and as there is a high concentration of the beta-galactoside in the cell, it is toxic to the cell, and to remove that beta-galactoside from the cell, to remove or to prevent the toxicity by the beta-galactosidase, it is getting acetylated, and that acetylation of the beta-galactoside, it is done by the enzyme, and that enzyme, it is a beta-galactoside transacetylases, which is going to be encoded by the LAC-A. So these are the three structural genes, LAC-Z, LAC-Y, and the LAC-A, which is involved into the metabolism, that is the catabolism of the lactose. So the lacoperon, it is involved into the catabolism of the lactose. So the lacoperon, it is coming under the category of the catabolite operon. Now going towards the regulatory elements. Here the regulatory elements, they are the promoter, operator, and the regulatory gene, that it is the LAC-I. So here the promoter is there, and the promoter of the lacoperon, it is a weak promoter. Then there is an operator. There are the three operators. Okay, the operators, there are the three operators O1, O2, and the O3. When Jacob and Monod, they have investigated the lacoperon, they have suggested that there is a single operator, and that operator, it is placed near the promoter. But the further research, it has illustrated that there are the more two operators they are present. One, it is present into the LAC-Z gene, and the second one, it is present into the LAC-I gene. So there are the three operators. O1, it is present near the promoter, and it is overlapping the promoter. So here it is the promoter, and here it is the operator. So there the promoter and operator sequences, they are the overlapping sequences. Next there is the O2. Okay, O2, it is present downstream to the promoter in the LAC-Z gene. Where it is present downstream to the promoter in the LAC-Z gene, and O3, it is present upstream of the promoter in the LAC-I. Okay, so the three operators, they are present far from each other. One near the promoter, second in the LAC-Z gene, and the third, it is present in the LAC-I gene. Now here, when you say it is a principal operator, means what? When there is a deletion of that operator, deletion of the operator sequences, at that time the efficiency of the repression, it is also found to be decreased very much. So the O1 it is called as an principal operator, and the O2 and the O3 they are the secondary one. Now next going towards the regulatory gene, and here the regulatory gene it is the LAC-I. This LAC-I it is placed with its own promoter, and that promoter it is the PI promoter. So LAC-I it is as it has its own promoter, it is going to do its own expression. That is, it is going to synthesize the protein, and that protein it is the repressor. Okay, so the LAC-I it is going to synthesize the regulatory protein, and that regulatory protein it is the repressor. Now here coming towards the PI it is a weak promoter. Okay, PI it is a weak promoter. So as it is a weak promoter, it will have the less affinity for the RNA polymerases, and as RNA polymerases it is not binding efficiently to the PI, the transcription efficiency of the LAC-I it is a very low. And also its 5' UTR, okay, the mRNA of the LAC-I, its 5' UTR it is not well defined, so that the ribosomes they are also not identifying the mRNA of the LAC-I efficiently, so that the translation of the mRNA of the LAC-I it is very low. So the number of molecules of the LAC-I which are present into the cell, they are at a very low level. At a time about the 10 molecules of the repressors they are going to be present into the cell. So why this is so? Due to the weak promoter, and the second one it is a weak 5' UTR of the mRNA of the LAC-I. Now here this LAC-I it is going to encode for the repressor, and that repressor it is the monomeric form, and that monomeric form then it is going to be joined together, and it is going to form a tetramer. That is, the 4 monomers they are going to be together, and it is going to form the tetrameric form of the repressor. Okay, so it is a tetramer, and here it is the monomer. So the 4 monomers they are coming together, it is going to form the tetramer. So here when you look at the monomeric form of the repressor, it has the DNA binding domain, then it has the core domain. In the core domain there is a presence of the inducer binding site, and then there is the oligomerization region or the domain. Okay, so here it is the monomer consisting of the DNA binding domain, or you may call it as an headpiece. And next to the DNA binding domain there is the hinge region. Hinge region it is giving the flexibility to the DNA binding domain. Next there is a core domain. In the core domain there is a inducer binding site, and next there is a oligomerization region which is allowing the formation of the tetramer. That is, 4 monomers they are going to be together at the point of the oligomerization region. Okay. Now here the DNA binding domain or the headpiece, as it is a DNA binding domain, it is getting bound to the DNA, and what we have learned from the last video, that the repressor it is binding to the operator. So which part of the repressor it is involved into the binding with the operator, and that part it is a DNA binding domain. So the DNA binding domain of the repressor it is allowing binding of an repressor to the operator. Okay, so this it is the structure of what? It is a structure of the repressor. Here in the tetrameric form of the repressor you can find that there are the 4 DNA binding domains, there are the 4 inducer binding domains, the sites they are present. Okay, so here it is the structure of the LAC operon. I think you have cleared the structure of the LAC operon. If you have any doubts, if you have any problems, please drop it into the comment box, and subscribe my channel and like my video and share my videos with others to spread the knowledge. Thank you.